Look at this, Will. Cool article here from Business Insiders. Tech companies that shut down or went bankrupt in the last decade. I'm about to take you on a trip down memory lane. Kirk, you as well. Jack's got headphones on. It's surprising. I forgot some of these companies, but it really is interesting to go through this. Here we have a company that declared bankruptcy in 2010, a company I've referenced in the past, a place that I used to spend a lot of time, Blockbuster. That's a classic. And I don't need to explain it. Everyone knows Blockbuster is gone. It was founded in 1985, the year I was born, by the way. That's interesting. I used to spend endless hours in there sorting through the films, picking up the old budget rentals. That would be my thing, because they also would have deals. It would be cheaper if you picked up the classics as opposed to the new release. A lot of people don't know this. There's one Blockbuster left.
Yes.
On Earth, and it's privately run, and they're just gonna keep doing it even though the chain is wiped out. The peak valuation for Blockbuster was $8.4 billion in 1994. $8.4 billion to zero, Will. And it's weird because you look at it, you realize you go from 85, you peak in 94, 9 years doing business. That's a pretty wild growth there. And then by 2010, it's a wrap. And you can blame Netflix, obviously.
Yep.
And believe it or not, there's a lot of people are mad at Netflix, including the movie theaters, which I did the previous topic relating to that. Mm-hmm. So there is one franchise left. I think it's in the Seattle region. If you just have to go get some of your very own Blockbuster nostalgia, you can travel. It's either there or in Portland. It's somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. You can browse whatever films still exist over there. Now, I'm not gonna read all of them, just the ones that are interesting to me or I have a connection to. The other one is Palm. You remember Palm? 2011 went out of business in 2011. Peak valuation $53.3 billion in 2000. Did you ever have a Palm, Willie Do?
No, but I've always wanted a Palm Pre.
You wanted a Palm Pre?
Yeah.
I had a Palm Treo, which was probably my first smartphone, if you can call it that. And I had this before a BlackBerry, in fact. You can go to images. Top left is fine. That's the one I had. If you want an actual real image, look at that baby right there. I was crushing the world with that thing. You know how much business I was doing? You don't understand, man. Nah, I mean, I was in high school, so Treo 680. I just knew, I feel like even back then, as a youngster, I knew I was into this stuff. Because I had no reason to even have that or want that. But yet, I felt I needed to experiment with it, experience. I had to use it. Mm-hmm. And so I went out of my way to get one. And I guess the rest is history, because obviously I got really into smartphones after that. And the thing about the valuation in 2000 that should blow your mind, that $53.3 billion put Palm at the time in a higher valuation than McDonald's and General Motors. Stop and think about that. Palm could have been Apple. I mean, they couldn't. Obviously, they had no iPhone. But to give you a perspective on what could have been, they were early to a party that ended up becoming the world's party, the smartphone party. It's wild. 2013, Compaq. You remember Compaq?
Yes.
Did you ever have one of those?
No.
I had a Compaq Presario.
Was that desktop or what?
No, that was a laptop, a chunky one. It actually wasn't mine. It was my dad's. And he used to carry it in a legit briefcase, in a hard shell briefcase, but I don't think it was made for it, with a huge power adapter. And he was super professional, but it was a chunky one. It was an early time Compaq Presario. Now, they didn't go bankrupt. They were purchased by HP, Hewlett Packard, for $25 billion in 2002, but then HP just shut them down. Wasn't worth it. The name went out of existence. Peak valuation in 2000 at 40 billion, founded in 1982. It's crazy how quickly value can exit from a brand or company. It can take 20 years to build it, and then in 5 years, 4 years, it's gone.
A couple wrong decisions.
Yeah, night. Good night. Now this one's, like I said, this one's weird because HP it was probably valuable to them to eliminate that competitor.
Right.
So the value may have transitioned in a way at that moment. Alta Vista. Come on, give me some love on that one. Willie, do you ever use Alta Vista? You didn't? Oh, you're not an OG. You're Jack. We got a chair for you right there.
Just slop.
We got a chair. Kirk, Alta Vista. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Alta Vista, man.
What is it? A search engine?
That's so
I'm just
rude,
reading
Will.
right now. The most powerful and useful guide to the net.
That was the search engine pre-Google.
I was using Metacrawler.
Was that the same era? No, that was like after Alta Vista. Yeah, Alta Vista 1995 founded.
1995. Yeah.
That's
when I started.
You were 10.
Using the internet.
Oh, okay. So maybe I was on the internet before you.
You probably were.
When did your first computer come into house? What was your first computer?
Man, it was like running a Windows 3.1.
Oh, 3.1. I had DOS computers in my house. So yeah, you were definitely a little bit later. Yeah. $2.3 billion valuation in 1999. It wasn't shut down until 2013. That's kind of funny because I definitely didn't use it into the 2000s, I don't think. It was one of the largest search engines, and it was shut down by Yahoo, who purchased it. And even Yahoo, wow, that's a throwback on its own. But I used to love how you could configure it. It had categories. It was a homepage. Because searching used to be hard pre-Google. You didn't get what you were looking for often. At least not every time, not with the same degree of accuracy. So browsing the categories was a real thing that you did. Look at that. It has speed boost on it. Is that an ad or is that real?
Yeah.
It's
this
has
has got to be an ad, right?
I don't know.
It's got a speed boost style. Weird.
There was a social media app called Friends Reunited, which I think is funny just because of the name, that went out of business. I'd never used it. Pebble in 2016. You remember Pebble?
Yes.
This one is a crazy story. At the time, it was the #1 product on Kickstarter. It raised $10.3 million. It was the most successful Kickstarter campaign ever. And the owner turned down $740 million in 2015 to sell the company. He turned down $740 million. Eventually, he was able to sell it for $40 million to Fitbit. So he missed out on $700 million. You ever miss out on $700 million, Will?
All the time.
Every day.
Feels bad.
That's rough. It's rough. I remember Pebble started the whole wearable thing.
Yeah, e-ink watch.
Yeah. I remember it being a really big story. Now, I don't think I got one, which is weird because my channel started in
11? 10?
When was that Kickstarter? Okay, so he had an offer to sell in 2015. Yeah, I should have definitely unboxed one of these, but I never did. For whatever reason, I skipped over the e-ink thing as far as I can remember, unless there's a video out there. The campaign was in 2012. Yeah, so I guess it was hottest maybe 2013. Still pretty early days for me, so maybe that's why it got skipped. But it generated a ton of interest in a short period of time. Founded in 2012, an offer to purchase for $740 million by 2015 in 3 years. An upstart, a Kickstarter company. Kind of amazing, but it never was able to really do it. And then, of course, Fitbit buys it, and now Fitbit gets bought. So it all gets wrapped into one, and it goes to one of the big players. Isn't that funny how that works? Well, somehow that ends up a Google product now.
Yeah.
In a weird roundabout way.
A lot of tech companies get bought out.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's better than going bankrupt, I guess. The 2017 Virtu, the luxury phone. This is fun. Are we having fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The luxury phone, founded in 1998. I remember they were rebranding, skinning, kind of making different models very beautiful and expensive. Did I do a Virtu phone? No. I don't think I ever did.
We didn't?
No. Right. We've done various luxury phones, but I don't think I ever did a Virtu.
Oh, okay.
It was, founded in 98. Peak valuation, $297 million. Went bankrupt in 2017. The phones were like $6,000. Yes. No, I'm not even joking. They would have real diamonds and leather and everything else.
That's your first problem.
And I remember I actually talked to an executive at the company at one point in time. I remember this phone call because I was saying, send it over. I'll do an unboxing video because I was curious about it. And I remember him indicating to me that that it was a difficult product to feature because it's not really a tech product. It's a luxury product. Right? You can't make the tech justification for the $6,000. You got to start evaluating the materials, and he was kind of making a case for it. But I guess none of it matters now because it's over. They went bankrupt. Remember this company, Jawbone?
Oh, they went out of
That's
business?
Weird. That's a type of company you completely forget. But yet, there was a moment in time where it was a real player.
Yeah.
Kirk's got a Jawbone. Yeah, they're out of business, 2017. Peak valuation, $3.2 billion. Who would have thought? Shut down and liquidated in 2017. How about this? They were sued by vendors who claimed they were owed money. They just ran the business into the ground, it appears, based on this. Kind of crazy because you had that head start. They were the first, remember? One of the first with the cool Bluetooth. Remember that? The Jawbone?
Yeah.
But I guess what happened? Like, nobody has Bluetooth headsets anymore. Their Bluetooth headset, I believe, was one of the first with the noise canceling thing. Was it not? Was that how they got the name? Or was it noise canceling, or was it the microphone for speech was better? I can't remember. But it started there. And then, of course, it went into Bluetooth speakers. And then I believe they had a wearable as well.
Did they?
They had one of the first fitness wearables. They had nice looking hardware. But as you can tell here, it doesn't necessarily matter. You could have it all together and...
Oh, yeah, these things.
You see what I'm saying? You totally forget these things existed. You can have a brand and I guess you can mismanage it or not pay your bills. I don't know what you do. I don't know how it happened, but of course we could look into it. This one is for Kirk. 2018 Path. The social network for a tighter knit social group. Path shut down. And I remember when this launched, it was kind of the anti-Facebook. It was have a tight knit group. Don't compete. That's such a weird concept. Do you remember? People would compete to have friends, to have a bigger friend number on Facebook. That was a thing that humans, I guess people still do that. I don't know what goes on in the world anymore. Have you guys seen the boomer meme? That's me. You guys haven't seen that yet? Boomer here. It means I'm out of touch. Boomer like a baby boomer. And we see, well, you got to brush up on your memes over here. But anyway, I'm in boomer zone when it comes to certain things that are happening. But Path, I thought was really cool. And I remember early days Unbox Therapy on King Street downtown. We were all on it, experimenting with it. Oh, yeah. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Right when it came out, we were super curious about it because it was like, oh, maybe this is a better way to have to social media each other. Peak evaluation, $500 million. $500 million peak valuation. Started in 2010, ended in 2018. It was going to be a challenger to Facebook. It was going to be better for your mental health. And it started at some point rapidly shedding users and then went under completely. I guess that's upsetting, right? Mm-hmm. It's a cool concept. It never took off for whatever reason. It's hard to do a social media site that can stay there. Man, it's hard.
Especially when you got big big social media companies.
You're up
just
against
already there.
You're up against some big players.
Just buying other companies.
Some big players. We'll do what should we do? One more? You remember StumbleUpon?
Oh yeah.
Did anybody use that? StumbleUpon? 2018, and I guess it shut down recently. Had a valuation peak 75 million. It was like bookmark. It was like kind of like cool bookmarking thing.
It would show you a random site.
Is that what it was?
StumbleUpon. Like
There was no bookmarking element to it. You wouldn't, because it would be the StumbleUpon plugin. You could add it to your Am I wrong or am I crazy?
I think it would cater to what you chose as like a bookmark.
Right.
I think maybe.
Let's verify. Let's be sure here because
feed you new websites.
StumbleUpon. It's a cool name. It kind of feels like the internet at times.
Yes.
To stumble upon something. A discovery and advertisement engine that pushed web content recommendations to its users. It allowed users to discover and rate. So it's kind of like an early Reddit, sort of. Web pages, photos, and videos that are personalized to their tastes and interests using peer sourcing, social networking, and advertising principles. The service shut down in June 2018. All right. Yeah, I remember using it, but obviously not as much as you guys did. So there is a pretty cool trip down memory lane. The youngsters might not remember any of those. If you have any to add to it that are interesting from the 2010s or before that, it's really weird reading through that list. You really forget about some of these things, even though they might have been huge products or popular sites. Or if you're Willie Doo, you never even used Alta Vista, so you're not even an OG.
Is there a app or product that you want to bring back?
Are you asking questions now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
this is
taking back to
Inquisition. A product I would want to bring back, or an app, or a player in the space.
Yeah. Hardware, whatever.
A player in the space.
Yeah.
You know what I used to love as a kid was Dreamcast. The game console Dreamcast. I had some weird titles for that. I had the VMU and the controller. I did an unboxing video, a nostalgic unboxing video. When I got that, I was the outlier because everyone in school had a PlayStation or what was the other at the time? Because there's no Xbox yet.
N64?
N64.
Yeah.
Or an early PlayStation. And I opted for the Dreamcast. And somehow my brother and I agreed, let's get the Dreamcast instead. And we were playing the 2K sports games before they rolled out on any of the other platforms.
Were they running at 60 frames?
I don't know.
I felt really fast.
Did it?
I don't know.
It was just such an offshoot. It was such a different way they were approaching it. The controller was way different. Like I said, I thought the coolest thing ever was the screen in the controller because we played football games a lot. And the other guy would see the play you were calling. Yeah. And on the 2K sports football game, you could call your plays, pick your plays on the VMU unit on the screen on your controller so the other guy couldn't snoop. I thought this is so innovative. No one's done it yet to this day. But again, no one does local multiplayer anymore. So why would it matter? No one actually socializes anymore, Will.
No.
Didn't you know that? You go on social media at a distance. You game with the headset.
There's no controllers in controllers.
Yeah, no,
like
you're right.
The Dreamcast.
Oh, that's the other crazy part. The VMU was a controller itself.
Yeah.
You could play mini games on the thing.
Yeah.
Man, it was so wild. Such a crazy device. So I'll bring that one back. Go back to the drawing. We re-release Dreamcast. Probably would not be a hit today, but whatever.